Good morning. We are going to use yoga block, Pilates ball, and hand weights. I have 3 pounds, which means we'll do less repetitions than if we had a lighter weight. So let's start standing, feet about hip distance apart. One hand on chest, one hand on lower belly. Let's close our eyes and let's start with some nice deep breathing. Let's do our best to calm, to quiet that top hand, and to send the breath into that bottom hand, as deep a breath as possible. Lengthen it and slow it down. If you feel that top hand is still and there's no movement in the chest, take your top hand, place it on your low back so that you can do your best to breathe into belly and low back simultaneously. If you feel you have low back and belly both going well, moving well, add the side body. So trying to get that nice 360-degree breath. Slow, controlled, belly, low back, side body, all simultaneously. Relax your arms at your sides. Still try to focus on lengthening, deepening, slowing down your breath. But let's go for our posture scan. Eyes closed, focus on the feet to begin. Let's think about the big toe, the little toe, all the way to the heel, and everything in between. So thinking about where you feel the most weight. Is it on your toes, your heels, one direction, the other? And let's take a moment here and let your body kind of move wherever it feels comfortable. Maybe swaying from one side to the other, forward or back. Just kind of letting your body roam around. And then let's do our best to stop the movement and find center. From there, let's draw our attention up through the ankles, in through the shins, the calves, and then we pause at the knees. Make sure your knees are nice and straight, never locked. Little bend. From the knees, we draw our attention up through the quads, hamstrings, and glutes. Just noticing if you feel any soreness, tightness, gripping. And then let's place our hands on top of our hips. Let's see if we can notice any rotation, hip hike, tilt, any asymmetries that just don't feel equal on each side. And then let's draw our hands all the way up to our ribs. Let's go for a few lateral breaths. So we've been breathing deep into belly, low back, and side body, but let's draw the breath up a little bit into that rib cage. Let's inhale, try to expand and open those ribs. On the exhale, draw the ribs to the center. 3 more. 2. Last one. Relax your arms at your sides. Let's think of reaching the fingertips down to the ground, turning the thumbs to open the shoulders, external rotation, and then relax. Let's go for 3 more of those. Fingertips down to the ground, rotate, open the shoulders, and relax. 2 more. Fingertips to the ground first, thumbs out to the side, palms are forward. Keep the arms as tight to your body as you can. 1 more. Fingertips down to the ground, turn those thumbs out, and relax. And our last little thought before we move on is thinking of the crown of the head pressing straight up to the sky. See how tall you can feel, how long your neck can get. And then let's open our eyes. Let's make sure our feet are in a nice parallel position, about hip distance apart. We're gonna inhale, reach the arms up to the sky, palms up. Pause at the top. I want us to all turn our hands so palms face outward and press down. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Palms are up, palms are up. Turn palms out, pressing down. One more. Inhale, palms up to the sky. Exhale, turn, pressing down. Let those arms hang at your sides. Let's go for a roll down. Forward fold if you have osteoporosis. The rest of us rounding from chin to chest. One individual vertebra at a time. Just letting those arms hang as we roll. Find the bottom wherever that is for you. And let's hang here for a second. If you're able to reach the ground, grab your opposite elbows to help you into a further forward flexion. Let's do our best to send our breath into the upper back, expanding it wide. On the next exhale, we let go of those elbows, we bend those knees a bit more, push into the heels and rebuild from the bottom of the spine to stack and stand it all the way tall. Roll those shoulders back. Let's do one more of those. Exhale, chin to chest. Really let those arms hang in front of the body. Doing your best to articulate the spine. If you can reach the floor, we grab opposite elbows. Even if you can't, it's a really nice additional rounding of the spine. Deep breaths, expanding your upper back. One more. And on the exhale, let's bend those knees, push into the heels, rebuild, stacking the spine from the bottom, nice and tall. Good. Let's bring our heels together in a nice little Pilates V position. We're gonna keep our heels glued together and we're gonna slowly lift up onto our toes, but I want the heels to remain in contact, glued together, squeezing them, and then lower the heels. Again, keep those heels glued together, up, 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 and then back down. Warming up the feet, warming up that posterior chain, inner thighs, thinking of the hips externally rotating, and back down. Couple more. Up, nice and tall, wide collarbone, crown of the head up to the sky. And back up onto those toes, lift, 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 keep those heels touching, and back down. Let's stay up at the top on the next one. Keep the heels touching, bend the knees. Keep the heels touching, bend the knees. Imagine you're sliding down a wall. Keep pushing into the heels, grow tall. Straighten those legs. Heels are still lifted. 4 more. Bend those knees. Open the knees out to the side. Keep those heels touching. 3 to go. Bend. And tall. Last 2. Keep those heels lifted, lifted. Bend. And tall. 1 more. Bend. And all the way tall. Slowly lower those heels. Let's pull the heels apart so we're back to a parallel position in the feet. Let's bend the knees, thinking of sliding down a wall. Heels, feet stay firmly planted on the floor. Grow tall. Straighten the legs. Bend those knees. Grow tall. 3 more. Bend. Tall. Last 2, bend. Tall, 1 more time. Bend those knees. Grow all the way tall. Let's go up onto our toes. Hold. Lower the heels with control. 4 more. Up onto the toes. Do your best not to pitch the body forward. We want to think of really just growing straight up and straight down. 3 to go. Up. Down. Last 2. Up. Down. 1 more time. All the way up. And down. Combine the movement. We squat first. Bend those knees. Lift the heels. Straight legs. lower the heels. 4 to go. Bend the knees first. Then lift the heels. Straighten your legs. Lower the heels. 3 to go. Bend. Lift the heels. Grow tall. Lower the heels. Last 2. Bend those knees. Lift your heels. Straight legs. Lower the heels. 1 more. Bend. Everything with control. Lift the heels. Tall. Lower those heels. Reverse. Up onto the toes. Bend the knees. Lower the heels. Keep the legs bent. Ankle mobility. Straighten the legs. 4 more. Up onto the toes. Bend the knees. Lower the heels. Straighten the legs. Last 3. Up. Bend. Lower. Tall. 2 to go. Up. Bend those knees. Lower the heels. Straight legs. Last 1. Up. Bend. Lower the heels and all the way tall. Good. Feeling a little bit warm. Let's come down onto our mats. We're going to start today with the block under our tail, okay? Block under the tail. Make sure you have your Pilates ball nearby. As always, exercises like this, if you don't like it, if it doesn't feel good for you, omit the accessory. So, block underneath the tail. It's a nice little lift, okay? Make sure your head is nice and flat. And we're just gonna hold here for a second and see if we can feel more weighted through the tail. See if you can really feel weighted without arching the low back. We're keeping the ribs and hips connected to one another. Shoulders are open. And let's take a few deep breaths here. Two more. Last one. Let's make sure we're in a nice neutral spine or a little bit flat. Okay, just don't overarch. Slowly float one leg up into tabletop. Keep it here, and let's float the other leg into tabletop. Now, because it's a block and not a ball, we should have a lot more stability. Keep those shoulders relaxed. Let's inhale, reach one foot towards the floor, toes first. Exhale, bring it back up. If this is too much for you and you feel movement through the pelvis, keep one foot on the floor at all times. Alternate legs. Inhale down, exhale it up. Inhale, exhale up. Alternating sides, slow control. Making sure your ribs and hips are staying equal distance apart, regardless of which leg is lowering. So there should be a lot of abdominal stability through this movement. If you're feeling solid with this, we can go for a simultaneous switch of the legs. The further you keep the top tabletop leg away from you, the more challenging it will feel. Alternating legs for another 10, 9, nothing else moves, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring both knees in for a second. Just relax. And then we're going to go right back to tabletop. And now I want our Pilates ball. It's going to go between our knees. Okay? We're holding it between our knees just for a second. And then we're going to go for some nice little pulses. So you should be feeling inner thigh right away. Because our hips are lifted, it makes it a little bit more challenging angle-wise. Let's squeeze the ball for 5, release, 4, 3, 2, 1. Not squeezing, but holding the ball. I'm going to reach my legs away from me together without losing my neutral. I'm going to inhale, reach my legs away, holding that ball. Only go as low as you can maintain that neutral. Exhale, pull it back up. You may move an inch, you may not move at all. totally work within the range of motion where you can maintain that solid abdominal position, right? Neutral spine. Inhale, reach those legs away. Exhale, back up. We're gonna add to this. As we bring the legs back up, I wanna squeeze on the ball, using inner thighs and abdominals as a team. Inhale, reach away. Exhale, squeeze the ball, come back up. Let's go for 3 more. 2. 1 more time. And in, let's set the ball aside. Feet come onto the ground, about hip distance apart. We're gonna lift our hips up off the block to feel a stretch through the front of the hips and hold for a second. And then we're just gonna bring our tailbone back down to the block. No articulation, we're too high to get much anyway. Let's do 3 more of those. Focus on this as a stretch for the anterior chain. Lift, 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 and back down. 2 to go. Push into those feet, especially the heels, and down. My shoulders are anchored on the mat. We have 1 more. This time, when we hold at the top, remove your block, and then come down. Let's make it an articulated bridge with the ball between the thighs, not the knees, the inner thighs. We're holding the ball, not squeezing. Exhale, flatten the back, pick up your tail. Think of 1 bone at a time. Coming up as high as you feel comfortable. Pause at the top. In through the nose. Exhale, we come back down bone by bone. Pause at the bottom, big breath in. Exhale, flatten that back. Just by holding the ball between our inner thighs, we have to use our inner thighs a little bit more than if there was nothing. Pause at the top. Back down, articulate the spine. Head is flat on the mat, shoulders are staying anchored. Last 2. Exhale to peel. Always pausing at the top, taking a nice inhale, exhaling back down. 1 final repetition here. Exhale, flatten that back. Pick up the tail, 1 vertebra at a time, pausing at the top. Slower is better. And again, let's set the ball off to the side. Widen your feet. Let's stretch the front of the hip. Just a nice, gentle little stretch. And then the other side. A little back and forth. And then back into the middle. Bring both knees in. We're going to grab that ball. The ball is going to go between either ankles. Well, it's going to go between ankle, kind of back of the thigh, back of the calf, and the front of the other leg. We've got a few options here, okay? So I'm going to show you the easiest option to begin. We can all bring our knees into our chest, right? Ball between. This in and of itself is a lot of work, okay? I'm going to reach my legs away just to where I feel comfortable. I'm going to switch the ball behind the other leg in front of the other one, bring my knees back in. So it's kind of a reverse way to do it to make it a little bit easier. Reach away, switch, bring it back in, okay? If that's too easy for you, you're gonna start in tabletop, you're gonna reach away, come to tabletop, and then do the switch. Away, tabletop, do the switch. And if you want even more of a challenge, we're gonna straighten our legs. As I lower my legs, I'm going to bend the top one, drawing the ball up towards my knee. So I'm reaching as long as I can, hard position to hold. Extend the leg with the ball sliding all the way up. Switch at the top. Alternate sides. Bend the top leg, draw that ball up towards the knee, point those toes, extend the leg, reach all the way up. Switching. Back and forth, time under tension, meaning The slower we can go with this, the more work it will be because I'm holding the challenging position for a longer period of time. It's one of the ways we increase the level of difficulty with exercises. All the way up. Alternating sides. Down. All the way up. Switching. Alternating. Back and forth. Let's do one more each. One more each. All the way up, up, up. Reach, reach, reach. Up. And bend the legs. Bring them in. And we're going to come into a side lying position. Side lying position with our ball. So, a couple variations with this next one. Laying flat on the mat is going to be my easiest variation. Okay? I'm going to hold the ball between, well, easier is going to be between the knees. So in this position, I'm on my side. I'm going to roll onto my back, touch the ball, back onto my side. And I'm going to use my top arm for support. So just rolling onto our back is a lot of work. Other option, ball between the feet, stay on your side, or we go up onto our forearm and straighten our legs, okay? Straighten the legs, lift them up to the sky, reach for the ball with your hand, and then we come back onto our side. Really important, my top hip needs to land square on top of my bottom hip, okay? If I don't do that, I'm missing a lot of the exercise. Not touching my legs down is gonna make it harder. This is 2, we're going for 10. Hold at the bottom, make sure your hips are square, belly pulled in. This is 3. I'm cheating, not cheating, I'm making it easier by using my top hand to set on the ground in front of me. If I didn't touch down with my hand, it would be quite a bit harder. This is 6. 4 more. 7. So the top part of my waist is working very hard. 8. So my abdominals. 9. And 10. Oh, let's split the legs. Let's take a seat. Take the arm we were laying on, reach it up to the sky and stretch over. Stretch over, reach that arm long. We have another side to do. Same variation options, laying down on your side with your head on the mat or on your block. Ball between the knees is easier. Let's go, we have 10. So I'm in my nice straight line, doing your best not to set those legs down. I feel a lot more work that way. Reach up. Hips are square, make sure they end up stacked. 9. 8, if you're going faster than me, slow down. Keep the hips stacked at the bottom. You take a little pause there. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. And let's split the legs, sit up. Arm we are laying on, up and over. Nice stretch. Let's come into a quadruped position, ball between the thighs. Quadruped, ball between the thighs. Hands are under shoulders, knees are under hips. I'm going to tuck my toes. I'm going to make sure I'm in a neutral position, meaning my back is not too flat, nor is it arching down. So before I even lift my knees, I feel an abdominal connection. Shoulders away from those ears. And we've got the toes tucked, ball between the inner thighs. We're going to lift the knees just slightly off the mat. Squeeze the ball for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, back down. We have 2 more of those. Let's go again, shoulders away from those ears. Toes are tucked, hover the knees, squeeze, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, back down. One more time. Again, hover the knees, squeeze, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. Set the ball aside, press yourself back, a nice little child's pose, reach the arms out in front of you. Let's walk both of our hands to one side of the mat. Feel a nice stretch down that whole side body. Other side. And let's come back into quadruped. Hands under shoulders, knees are under hips. Let's go for a gentle cat-cow by rounding head, chest, mid-lower back. And let's extend the spine, low back, mid-back, upper back, head. Intentional about the movement, but not taking forever. Head, chest, mid, lower back, round, round, round. Low back, mid, lift that chest all the way up. Let's tuck our toes. Let's lift our hips up to the sky. Pressing ourselves back. Nice stretch. And we're going to come up to standing. We're going to grab our Pilates balls or weights, whatever we call them. And we're going to come back into our nice Pilates V position. Heels are touching, toes are slightly apart. Start with those elbows bent next to the body. Core is engaged, inner thighs are squeezed. We extend the arms to shoulder height and bend. Keep those shoulders wide, crown of the head up to the sky. 9, 8, 7, 6, grow tall. 5, 4, 3, 2, staying out there on this one. 1, keep the arms out, bend for a bicep curl, extend the arm. 10, 9, grow tall. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, relax those shoulders. 3, 2, and 1. Relax the arms, roll the shoulders. One more little weighted variation. We're going to come into a hinge forward position. My feet are parallel. I'm going to hinge my body forward, nice flat back, straight arms, and I'm just going to pull my arms straight out to the side for 10. Palms face the ground. 9, back of the neck is long. 8, shoulders are down. 7, 6, to make it harder, take a little pause at the top. 5, if it's too hard, don't pause. 3, that was 4, this is 3, back of the neck is long. 2, and 1. Let's set those weights down. Let's come back to our parallel hip distance apart position. Let's inhale, reach those arms up to the sky, palms facing up. Turn palms to face away, pressing down. Inhale, arms up to the sky, palms face up. Turn palms to face down and away. Last one. Inhale, up. Turn, press down and away. Roll your shoulders. 3, 2, and 1. Good.